welcome to the advanced Bunnyhop tutorial. Right now I'm on a multihop map. It's called Lego 2. On the last time, in the basic tutorial, we were on Legion, which is a single hop map. And you could only jump on the block once. Right now, you can see there is a bunnyhop block, so I'm going to go there. And when we press S, we can simply keep on jumping. The block doesn't disappear. This means we can actually stop on every block and maintain our speed. Now, this is going to bring one problem. When you press S, you're going to keep a little bit of speed, so you have to keep pressing your other keys to actually cancel out that movement and stay on the block. The other problem is, you need to get speed again to get to that block. So for that, you need to pre-speed on the block. Now you don't have that much space, so for an open block like this, you can use the technique called the figure of 8. Figure 8 is really, you start moving your mouse like this, just back and forth. You're going to pick up a lot of speed. Now with that speed, you can make it to the next block, and if you need to, you can stop again. You can also, with the speed you have, keep going. Like this. Then if you don't know the map, you can simply stop, look around where you have to go. For example, now I have to go from there to there to there. So I'm going to pick up some speed again. Like this. If it's going too fast, you can simply stop. Like you can see here, you have more space. You can even pre-speed in a circle like that. Continue to the next level. On the basic Bunnyhop tutorial, I taught you how to strafe. We've begun with simple weaving like this. But for multi-hop maps, you sometimes have to be able to gain more speed in a short amount of time. Now for that, if you do smooth strafes like this, it's not really going to help. Before I get into multiple strafes in a short amount of time, have a look at the heads-up display at the bottom right corner. You can see the amount of strafes I'm doing. When I switch from A to D, you can see the amount of strafes is going up. Now the sync that you can see in the bottom right is basically the amount of time that I'm actually pressing the right key when moving my mouse to the right, and to the left. As you can see, they're aligned. When I now press D and move my mouse to the right, the sync goes up. If I press A and move my mouse to the left, the sync goes up. Now when you're switching very quickly, there's going to be more time where they're not going to be in sync. Now, to keep that as high as possible, you have to practice, and when it's as high as you can, you'll gain a lot of speed. So like this, I've been practicing for a long amount of time, and in the meantime I'm getting quite a lot of sync. Okay, now, these are boosters. They're going to boost you up, and in order to continue with this level, you have to make it to that block right there. Now, we can't stop on this and just do a figure of 8, because it'll set you back. So what we have to do, we have to gain a lot of speed by air strafing. Now, people may also call this the wiggle. You're basically just going to have to do a lot of strafes in a short amount of time, and you'll be able to make it to there. Now, really, all you can do, again, is practice this, and if you feel it's going better, you can start off with a few amount of strafes, and then when you manage to do that, you can try putting in more strafes because you're going to go further. Let's just try completing this level. The only downside with this is that there's actually boosters involved, and boosters aren't always as reliable as you want them to be. They'll shoot you up, but sometimes they might not shoot you high enough. That's why loping is important. Okay, I'm sure this is a map all of you have played once, and maybe even completed once since you're now an advanced bunnyhopper. The first time you're going to complete this, you're going to get a time somewhere around a minute, even higher maybe. Because it's the first time you play a map, things are going to be a bit difficult. Now, regardless of that, you'll be proud of your time. And maybe, if you're in bad luck, there's a good player online that's just going to smash your time and get somewhat around 40 seconds. Now, the good response would be, how did he do that? You shouldn't call them out as a hacker because it's definitely possible. What they're doing on a map like this is they're keeping speed throughout the entire map. Now, a normal reaction might be, that's not possible because there's things here doors and you're going to come out and you lose all your speed and you have to go through them. Now, there is actually a way to keep your speed through it, and in order to explain that best, I'm going to have to supersize this map. Alright, here we are. Now the reason I changed to this map, this is Bunnyhop easy for Excel. It's basically just scaled up by a factor of 4. The reason I changed to this is because on the smaller version, we really just couldn't see what was going on. Now here, I'm going to look in slow motion, even, on a larger map, to see what's really going on. Bear with me. What we can actually see in slow motion is that when we go through the teleporter, we're actually being swung backwards into the wall. Now knowing that, on our next attempt, we can actually change something when we're coming out. Okay, now I have checkpoint set up so I can go back, and we're going to do the same thing, but now with a lot more speed. Okay, let's pause right here. We know that when we come out of the portal, we're actually going to have backwards velocity. Now, in order to understand how this works correctly, I'm going to take this black dot. This is going to be us. Suppose this is an upper view. So when we come out, we're going to go backwards like this, and to keep our speed, we can't just turn around. So we're going to make a curve like this, and then we're going to come out going to the front again. Now let's see how that reverse question marks works in practice. On the easy map, all of the teleporters sent you out backwards. Now on Bunnyhop Monster Jam, all the teleporters are different. For example, the first one will send you out straight forward. But the second one, right here, will behave differently. If you want to practice teleops and see what they do, simply go in them, look what they do, and then think, oh, if I'm getting this momentum, then I can just do a curve like this and continue. Now that's entirely possible, but since usually you have high velocity here, it's going to be quite difficult to respond to that on time, and you might not be able to make it like you want it. Now, apart from changing your movement on this side of the teleporter, you can also change the way you're going in. For example, here, you can go in like this, and just come out straight forward, which is really useful. You can just try around with this. I have no solid method of figuring out exactly what to do. I just look per teleporter and see what it does. This one, it will send you out backwards. But there's an extra challenge here. You have to actually, when you're going out this, you're going to have to turn and go between the pillars. Also, a small thing on this part, the grass on the sides, you can actually slide on it. Like we saw on surfs, you can slide on them too. And these are actually also surfs, but they're not as obvious. And a lot of other maps have this, and you can just try to make your way up to things faster by using, for example, sides like this, rather than climbing up the boxes right here. Okay, this last teleporter is also going to send me out backwards, so we can just do it like this, and somewhat keep the speed. And that's really all the types of teleporters there are. There's one other, which is the most annoying of all, and you can see one example right here. It's just going to stop you. Now, on other maps, like this one here, all teleporters are going to stop you. So none of the levels you will be able to teleop. There's really no way around this, and I'm going to show you how now. Look, I'm just not, I stop, I fall down, nothing happens. And the reason for that is this. There is a player clip surrounding your spawn position, so you spawn in that box. No matter which way you're going to come out, you're going to smack into one of the clips anyway, so you're just going to fall down. And there's no way around this. Another thing I haven't really talked about is crouching. The reason for this is that people kind of need to get a feeling for it themselves when they have to pull in their legs and when they can extend them again. Now, here I'm doing the ski level normally, and now I'm going to try to crouch at proper times so that you can actually skip a lot more blocks. Watch the HUD very closely so you can see what I'm doing. As you can see, I skipped a lot more blocks there, and I can keep going with more speed. Now on the next level there is also higher blocks, but with the increased jump power and auto, you can simply skip a few blocks here and there. I'm going to show that here. Even sometimes you have larger skips or gaps in between them, and those are called 64 unit jumps. Now to show more about 64 unit jumps, I'm going to go to a KZ map. Now on a KZ map you're going to encounter 64 unit jumps like this. On Gary's mod, crouching is a bit easier, so you can make this rather easily. Simply you crouch, you jump, and you press W. You can see in the heads-up display on the bottom right corner, when I press duck, jump, and press W to go forward. There's different kinds of these. They come in all kinds of forms. Most of them are easier, and some of them are higher. Now, you also have more difficult ones like this. There will be a small staircase that you jump, and you have to jump at the right moment to get to the next one. Okay, now here is the most annoying one. With this jump, you have to time your jump exactly right. You have to jump as soon as the ceiling goes away above your head so you can make it up to the next block. Here's another 64 unit jump followed by a proper one onto a block. Now, 64 unit jumps aren't the only thing you're going to encounter in the climb map. The thing you're highly likely to encounter is a long jump. They're usually indicated by a number like this. They range from 230 to about 270. In order to look at this better, I'm going to use a plugin called Long Jump. It'll show more details about the long jump. Well, what you really do is simply wiggle to get across, because you need to get a lot of speed in a short amount of time. As you can see, the plugin just showed. And you can see it was a 259 unit with 3 strafes and a pre-strafe of 273 units per second and an average sync of 63%. Now what this all is you know about strafes, you knew about sync. The pre-strafe is something new. That's actually just what we're doing right before we jump. This part is the pre-strafe. Now you're going to want that to be about 270 units. I think the ideal pre-strafe is 278. So 273 is pretty good, but I think with anything about 270, you'll be able to make most of the long jumps. Now, to do a pre-strafe, normally you walk with W and you jump. If you want to increase your speed, okay, watch my velocity on the bottom left. If you walk normally, you'll accelerate to 250 units per second. You're not going to go faster than that. Now, if you press W and D and you move your mouse to the right like this, you can see my velocity is going up to about 260. Now, if you do this at the very edge, right before you jump, and then do a long jump, you'll increase your velocity to about 272, which is going to be very beneficial for doing the actual long jump. Now, like I said, sync is also important, so the strafes you do, they have to be in sync. And you have to get good edge. I forgot to mention that. The edge is basically when you're going to jump. Like, if you jump too late, you're going to fall off and you're going to fail the long jump like that. If you have good edge, you're going to make the long jump easily. A thing that's helpful for longer long jumps is that you crouch at the right moment. If you watch my extra keys, you can see when I'm crouching is almost right near the end. And you're going to get the longest distance with that. Okay, I'm going to find a longer long jump now. Okay, here we are. This is a 245 long jump. It's not going to be a lot harder if you have the distance that I get. I usually go about 255, and with that distance you're going to be able to make most of the long jumps, especially on this easy map. Now, there's also different things on KZ maps next to long jumps and 64 unit jumps. It's B-hop jumps like these. 258, this is actually the distance from the edge of the block to there. But this is a lot easier since you have an extra strafe here and you can simply make a lot more speed because you're in the air for a longer amount of time. Okay, now on to the next part. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, and it's the feared ladder jumps. Okay, there's different ways to do ladder jumps. I'm going to try explaining most of them because we have different types of ladders and I use different techniques for each of them. What you're going to have to do is you have to get boosted up by the ladder to make it to that platform there. So in order to do this one, we'll have to go from the bottom left corner to the top right corner. And you're going to kind of make this path and fall into there. Now you're always going to use 2 keys in combination. You're either going to use W and A or S and D. Now for this one, it's I think most convenient to use W and A, and simply all you have to do is press W and A and turn to the left like this. Now sometimes you might have to do a little more wiggles to make it onto the other platform. It's going to give you more space. Now for this one, it's entirely up to the wall. So you don't really have as much space, you can still try doing W and A, but you'll have to wiggle more like that. You can also stand like this, and then press S and D, and then kind of do like this. You'll have to experiment with this a little bit, but the key feature of it is that you press 2 keys, and you're going to be launched up. Now for this one I press S and A, because you'll be shooting out like this. I think you can also do it like from the bottom right corner to the top left corner with, let's see, W and D, but then that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So for this one I'd say S and A and then simply turn like this. Now this one's actually difficult because there's the ceiling there which you can hit into, and also you have to make sure you come off the ladder as high as you can so that you gain the most upward velocity. Okay, let's see if I can do it now. There we go. Okay, so in this part there is another ladder that's surrounded by blocks on the side like this. So you're gonna have to, if you want to ladder strafe it normally, you're gonna be smacking into this thing. So you'll have to kind of go around it. But if you do it like this, and then you're gonna hit into the walls anyway, and you have to react very quickly, and I don't really like this method because I can't really see what I'm doing. I suck at it, sorry about that. What I do is press A and S, and I simply go like this, and then turn around the block so that you actually can end up right onto there. Now this one is relatively easy, it's simply a ladder jump, but you have to kind of strafe a lot to make it to this block. Okay, I think the last important part of a climb KZ map is a weird jump. Weird jumps are indicated by 2 numbers, and they they always have staircases like this. The first number is going to be the distance from the bottom stair to the block, and then the second number is going to be from the block to the end. Now, it's very similar to a B-hop jump. It's in the aspect of when you jump from here, you have a block and you go to the end. But the main difference is that your pre-strafe, part of it is going to be in the air. Normally you would jump right here as soon as you actually get there, but as you can see the triggers aren't allowing me to. We really have to just walk off here and then continue our pre-strafe in the air. Now, as you know from the previous tutorials, you can't hold W in the air, so you only have to use D. The pre-strafe you're going to do is like, the start of it is going to be 2 keys, and then as soon as you get into the air, you release your W key. Thus, you will start air strafing, building up speed, and will have more speed than usual at the edge of the jump. So you hit this, and then simply go to the block. It'll look something like this. You don't have to do that much strafes because you gain a lot of speed from the pre-strafe, and it should be relatively easy to do. Now, I'm not the best at this, but really the only hard part about it is you have to release your W key at the right time and you have to jump at the right time. So there you don't press space, and as soon as you go in the air you press space and you release W, and you'll simply build up speed and make it to this block. The last thing I want to mention about KZ maps before I end this video is surfs like this. You're going to be in a very tight space, you can't jump. Sometimes other maps like KZ Lucid, they have jumping protection, so you can jump here. Now on this map you can actually jump around, but it's going to be a little bit difficult because of this. So you can't just slide up it. It's going to be pretty difficult. So what you have to do is actually look at it as if you have to do a pre-strafe and then slide up like that. I've been stuck here when I first started playing this map, and the first encounter with this type of surf, it was pretty difficult. So I thought I might actually briefly say how to do it. So really all you do is a pre-strafe, and as soon as you start going up the surf you release W and hold space, and you'll simply jump up as soon as you made it. Okay, now thank you for watching the advanced video. If you want to know more about different styles of Bunnyhop, you can click on the expert video. That's going to pop right up in a second. Thank you for watching.